Hi.
I'm Doug.
I'm Lori.
And this is the recap for week 4 of Level 3 Flow and Momentum. So again, we were doing a lot of experimental stuff this month in Flow and Momentum. We were doing ELEF, and we had been building up a lot of different like movement exercises as a way of building flow and momentum, really thinking about connection and how we build that flow and momentum through connection with a partner. So last week we talked a lot about continuation and using shape to like move with a person and add those turns. And this week we talked about compression as a way of redirecting. So the sort of keynote move for this week was the sugar push. So do-ti-da. So we talked about how this can be a very shape move. Right? Like we don't use a lot of compression, but it's also sort of the classical move where we use a bunch of compression to add nuance and make the move work and add dynamic to the dance. So we did a bunch of stuff. We just played around with that movement and lead and follow. And then the breakdown that we did was we sort of thought about the move in 3 parts.
Yeah, so one would be this bringing into, we did a little bit of this in week 1, where we were able to move, and then compressing in here. And now we wanted to make sure that you were really intentional about bringing in the compression, really building up that gradient of tension and pressing forward against each other and meeting each other where you are in that tension so that no one person is like going too much or too little. And then holding it there for a little bit. We want to make sure that we kind of think about, okay, if we're being really intentional about our dancing, not popping away from each other immediately, which is probably how you learned it in level 2. It's like 3 counts in, 3 counts out, boo, da, popping in. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. I was like popping out. But instead we da, 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 and we kept it here. So we want to keep this compression going throughout. Now, what we did with you guys a little bit was to walk around a bit and assume the shape without compression, which I don't know if we can see that happen here.
So basically the idea is, right, we could hold our body here and like not actually be compressing.
But we want to have compression.
Real compression. Lori can feel my weight, the weight of my arm in hers, and that connects all the way back into our cores. We aren't leaning forward in a way that like if either of us let go, we would lose our balance, but we are pushing like in the way that if I like sort of let my feet go, like, and Lori, you were giving me compression forward, like we could walk backwards. There's enough compression there. So we just talked about sort of how to build this, how to have body awareness, leaders how to initiate it, follows how to respond to it, and then started adding on layers like, can we get here and use it as a rhythm control, right? Normally we use a lot of relaxation, but we can still give rhythm with compression. And then can we move while still using a lot of compression to motivate that movement? And then the last part was the release, right? Which is if this is a slow build-up to compression, you can talk about what you do with the release of compression. So the standard release for a sugar push comes in and then releases out over a gradient, but a relatively fast gradient. So we played around with like a slower release and then using that compression. Sorry. To like do turns and things like that. So we wanted to play around with all of those concepts. We talked about
posture.
Posture, yeah.
Make sure that your shoulders don't, this is like a really big one for me, your shoulders don't push in, right? Because that has a very different feeling. And that they also don't extend back behind you when you start to move, right? You want to keep your posture fairly upright, and you're going to be moving with your body here in order to create these tension moments, right? You want to not use your arms to push down or forward.
Right. Remember, this is a flow and momentum class. So this was really all about building up a language that we can use to have flow and momentum of different kinds in our dance, right? Like there are different places where you might build up compression rather than just a sugar push. So thank you so much for being with us through this really experimental Flow and Momentum Month.
We hope you came away with a better understanding of your own body and the intention that you put into your movement. And hopefully that will open up a lot of personal worlds for you as well, right? We're not trying to tell you this is the thing to do. We're trying to get you to a point where you can control your body to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah. So we really had a lot of fun this month, and we really thought it was cool what y'all did with these concepts. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you next month.
Bye.
Have fun on the dance floor.